Hello, Internetians! My name is Josh, aka Ultraplayer, your coach of the New York Metagross, and welcome to the ICBA. The ICBA, the International Competitive Battlers Association, a league currently in Season 3, run by Johnny GB, and pretty popular among the draft league community. Anyway, we have taken over for Alpha Lycanroc, who has decided to step away from the league due to personal reasons. And we have taken over his team. Now, I don't have my team pulled up. Wow, do I? I do. Now, his team that he passed on to us, we were given extra transactions. However, I actually did not take the extra transactions. I'm actually keeping the team as is, for at least for like a couple weeks. Because I very much like the team that he passed on to me. So the team that he passed on to me is going to be Z Celesteela, Z Salamence, Volcanion, Gliscor, Chestnut, Lycanroc, Dusk, Empoleon, Z Drapion, Licky Licky, Mega Gardevoir, and Zebstrika. All three of those Z-Mons are going to be attacking moves only. I really like this team. It's bird spam. It's decent bird spam. Bird spam that doesn't just like fall apart immediately. Except by like Bolt Beam, which is really horrible. This entire team is like really weak to Bolt Beam, but I'll fix that. Maybe. Anyway, I very much like the team. I think it's very, very fun and very, very good. And we're just going to run with it. So that's the team we took over. New York Metagross are here in the ICBA. We start 0-2, which is very bad. However, I've started worse. I've done worse. So hopefully we can bounce back and make playoffs and go on. Another thing I want to say is for a little while, I'm going to be using this quality webcam. It's a lot less than what I usually run. I used to run like 1920 by 1080 whenever I could, but I'm just going to be running the 640 by 480 for right now because I finally figured out what's wrong and why it keeps lagging. Like my higher quality webcam, I figured out why it keeps lagging, and I don't have the means and patience to fix it right now. So right now we're just running with this, so that's fun. It's actually lighting. It's a lighting issue. When I typically record, I have that on. That's the light typically for my room. Then I have two windows, one there, one over there, and one over there. So that's all the lighting I have, and I need to fix that and figure out how to make lighting that won't lag. So if you have any suggestions, of course, let me know. But anyway, with all that out of the way, we are here for ICBA Season 3, Week 3, and we are going against Garchomp the God, coached by, aka Austin, coach of the Lawrence Talonflames. Make sure you go check him out in the description below. We have faced him before in the IBL, and he froze us and has made freeze jokes ever since it happened, as much as he can. So anyway, that's awesome for you. Let us get into our opponent's team, shall we? Our opponent is going to be bringing, or not be, can't say he's going to be bringing, but he has access to Aegislash. This is an S-tier league. Our team just does not have an S-tier on it. Let me move this over real quick. This seems weird. Huh. I think I had the black border card on it. I'll fix that next week. Do not have the patience for it. But our opponent has Aegislash, one of the S-tier mons that costs a lot and a lot of points. So, that's fun. Also, okay, my music. I thought my music died for a second. We're just going to minimize that. Anyway, it does so much. It's still good type. It has a phenomenal defensive typing. It has phenomenal offensive stats as well as defensive stats due to its ability to change stances with its ability to stance change. Redundancy. But it is a very, very good mon. It has access to Sword Dance. It has access to... Does it have access to Nasty Plot? It doesn't have Nasty Plot. It has access to decent coverage and like Fighting Stab. It has... brings HPIs, you can run Autotomize, I believe. You're gonna typically see it run a defensive set, I feel, in these kind of leagues just because of how good of its typing is and how well it walls stuff. However, it can still run SD, it can still run King Shield, it can still run offensive sets very, very well. He has a Zygarde 50%, a very potent threat to my team. I did mention my team again was, like I said, well, I already mentioned my team, but it can barrel through my team, especially since this is one of his Z-Mons. It can very easily just barrel through my team with access to a Z-Crystal. Clicking Dragonium Z and being able to break through something, especially if I don't bring the right checks to it and everything. Certain mons I have can beat this 1v1, like my Gliscor can beat this 1v1 if I bring Ice Fang, or my Chestnut can potentially beat it 1v1 depending on what I bring on that. I have Intimidate Salamence I could be bringing, and run Habanberry and use that to beat it. I can run Scarf Salamence, I could run Licky Licky. I have all kinds of way to beat it, but however, if it can be a good late game sweeper if everything gets weakened. Swampert has Rocks, it's a water ground type, one of the best defensive typings out there in the game, only being weak to grass, albeit a 4x weakness. It has decent stats all around, and just a decent pivot wall kind of thing. Mega DNC is very, very good. I have this in the 8TL, the 8 tier league, and I'm very, very happy with it. It is a phenomenal offensive mon. Fairy is a very hard offensive type to switch into, especially when it's backed by something like Rock, meaning that only really good steel types can switch into it, or very, very bulky mons that does not get hit super effectively. Access to Stealth Rock, access to Magic Bounce, decent-ish kind of bulk. It has very low HP, but it's twin 110 defensive stats, so there's that. Also has good speed, has decent offense, it's very good. Breloom, very popularized by Jolt in the token minorities in the GBA. This mod is now being run on almost every single leech because of how people have been sleeping on it. People now realize how good it is. Priority Mach Punch, just as strong as Scissor's Bullet Punch. It has access to Spore, it has great attack. SD is a very good set. SD Life Orb is very prominent. Has Technician Rock Tomb, has Bullet Seed. It's a very strong mon and can also be kind of bulky if you really want to, and has that access to Toxic Orb, Poison Heal. So here's a Miltank. A Miltank I definitely expect to come because it can help me check my Salamence. Very bulky mon. Used to be one of the premier tier 5s, but has now since moved up in many leagues. So I think this one is a tier 5, so that's something to note. It's a very bulky mon, has access to Stealth Rocks, Reliable Recovery, Thunder Wave, Seismic Toss. It's a very bulky normal type. He has a Delphox. So I need to talk about this Delphox later, but Delphox is one of his Z captains. Faster than a lot of my team, can run a Choice Scarf if he really wants to, can run Choice Specs and Barrels through my team, could also run a Z Crystal to break through some things. Fire Psychic type has access to good coverage. It's a very good sleeper mon. Good Wish Passer, very bulky, also very passive, access to a few things, but it's generally a one-trick pony. Can run Knockoff, can run Assault Vest. New York Metagross champion right there. Crobat, fastest mon on his team, I believe. Fastest mon on his team, indeed. Access to Defog, U-turn, very good pivot, very good defensive typing. Stab Raybird is very, very nice. Has access to Nasty Plot, etc. Eradicate Alolan form, actually beats everything on my team. This is actually a threat. If it gets up an SD and hits all of its moves, it can actually basically just run through my entire team. All I need is a little bit of damage up onto my mons. And then he has a Dragalge, which I have decent switch-ins to, so I don't expect it to come, although it can be a great wall breaker with Choice Specs, or Z stuff, which I believe... I don't have anything pulled up. I believe this is one of his Z-Mons. No, Eradicate and Breloom are his other Z-Mon users. So anyway, it can do that. It can run special defensive, toxic specs, etc. So, how this battle went. Let me real quick talk about it, because I have already had the battle. So basically, we got into the battle. And I want to show you what I had. I had these 6 mons. I had this bulky offensive atop of my Celesteela. I had Subtoxic Volcanion with Steam Eruption and Earth Power. I had a Choice Scarf Salamence with Draco Meteor, so I could 100% Oko and no bulk Zygarde, which it did have bulk. Ooh! I have Wish, 3 attacks, Mega Gardevoir, with some bulk. A Taunt, Defog, Gliscor, and an Assault Vest Drapion. So, that's what I brought, and we got into the battle, and basically what happened was, I left Mega Gardevoir versus his Swampert. I kept predicting him to switch out into Aegislash. He brought Aegislash, he brought Swampert, he brought Zygarde, he brought Mega DNC, he brought Delphox, and he brought Aegislash, Zygarde, Swampert, Mega DNC, Breloom, Delphox. That's it. Those 6 mons. So that's what he brought. Anyway, eventually I killed the... What did I kill? The Swampert. And he goes out into, I believe... I don't remember what he goes out to. All I know is that there ended up being some back and forth with my Celesteela, always coming in on stuff. And being a defensive mon, using Leechy to get healthy. And eventually he got in Zygarde. I switched out into my Gliscor, I believe. Or I switched out into my Gardevoir on the Dragon Dance. I'm actually going to fix this while I talk. I switched out into the Gardevoir on the Zygarde. He went for Dragon Dance, and I knew he was going to. but I switched out to my Gardevoir so I could prevent a second Dragon Dance. He kills my Gardevoir, I go out to Talonflames, pick Draco Meteor, he has some bulk, he lives. I have to revenge it with something, I can't remember what I revenged it with, but I think it was the Gliscor. So I revenge it with Gliscor, and then I go out into the... Some back and forth happens. Eventually he got Delphox in, I go out to my Drapion, I take nothing from Flamethrower, and then he goes for Infernal Overdrive. However, on the dock, it was not listed that Delphox had a Z-Crystal ability. Since I knew it didn't have Z-Crystal, I knew it either had to run Specs or Scarf. And I was like, hold on, I did not prep for a Z-Crystal. I knew that it either run Specs and it'd chick KO me and I could take advantage of it, or it'd be Scarf and it'd switch out on a Pursuit Trap and I'd get rid of it as a huge offensive threat that could have beaten basically my entire team. So, we ended up talking, and because of that, we decided we both re-prep. And we just rehab the battle, because it ended up killing my Drapion, and it lost me the game. I still had ways to pivot around and beat it, and I was going to plan like that. However, once I figured out that it just straight killed my Drapion, I was going to Pursuit Trap it. Because I lived another Flamethrower, I even lived another Fire Blast. I was not too AK'd by Fire Blast, except on, I think it was a roll. So, I was coming in, I was going to Pursuit Trap and get rid of it, but... Nevertheless... that is what happened. So, I'm going to walk through how I re-prepped. And then I'm going to be doing this for every ICBA game. I'm going to be walking through exactly how I prepped for each game. So I re-prepped. We decided to both re-prep. Spoiler alert, he actually did not re-prep. He just brought the same team. And I was like, okay, when I got into the battle. But nevertheless, I was expecting a re-prep. I was not expecting the same mons. I was expecting some of the same things, general things to happen. However, I still expected some other ones I expected initially. Like, I expected Miltank for rocks. And... like, I expected I expected maybe like a nasty plot Crobat to come in on my chestnut. But anyway, I'm going to walk through how I prep this match. I want to do this for every ICBA game so I can give you an insight of how me and my front office build for each game. So, now that I knew what he was bringing, I knew that he had some form of Aegislash. I knew he had a Dragon Dance Zygarde, which at that point, I believe I was very convinced that it was going to be Roselli Berry for my Mega Gardevoir to set up on it reliably. I knew he was I think it was a specially defensive Swampert, I'm not sure. I knew he had a Mega DNC of some kind. I knew he had a Breloom, and I knew he had a Z Delphox. That's all I knew. So, let's get into this game. Let's get into how I prepped. So now that I knew that Delphox could rock a Z-Crystal, I knew that my Drapion was not going to be good enough to stop it unless I ran like Max Spadef. The only reason I ran that was because I knew he was going to bring Specs. I just knew he would not. I don't know why I knew he would not bring... I was so confident that he would bring Dragonium Z Zygarde and Scarf Delphox to revenge stuff like my Salamence, my Celesteela, my Gardevoir, if it wanted to. Basically, the only thing that it could not revenge was my Lycanroc. Looking down the list, Lycanroc and maybe a Scarf Substrika. Everything else, it was faster than it could easily revenge. So that's why I was so expecting Scarf Delphox. But I knew he was a Crystal now, so I was like, alright, so I'm not going to Pursuit Trap it. I'm going to bring something that just hard stops it, even if it rocks a Z-Crystal. So, the first mon, when building this team, that I decided on was going to be my Licky Licky. Because Licky Licky provides very good defensive wall to a lot of its mons. It's going to be named Diamonds, because it's a girl's best friend. I'm going to have Oblivious. And I knew I wanted Leftovers. Looking at his team, looking at what he was weak to, I knew, of course, I wanted Wish. I want to stay healthy, and I want Protect to stay healthy even more. And after doing some calcs, I calced a lot with this, because I wanted to make sure I had this before I go on to anything else. I noticed that he was really weak to Ice and Ground. Looking at his team, the Ice and Ground just basically beat everything, except for, like, a little Alomomola, which I had ways to, like, take advantage of. So, whew. After doing calcs of what was best, I noticed that certain mons had better Spadef and certain mons had better Fizdef than others. So I ended up going with Ice Beam for Zygarde and Earthquake for Delphox, as well as the Aegislash. I also have Ice Beam for the Crobat. Ice Beam also, Earthquake also hits the Dragalge. Ice Beam is good for a physically defensive or just a bulky in general Breloom because it has less Spadef. Earthquake hits Dancy. It's a really good set. Now, I can't tell you exactly why I had this specific spread, but I do know that I ended up with max HP, 148 in defense, and 108 in Spadef, and I ended up with a minus speed nature. There's not a lot on this team that I wanted to outspeed. I didn't really care if I was slower than a Dragalge. I didn't really care if I was slower than Aegislash. Swampert, because I ended up having pretty good switch-ins to the rest of those anyway. Whew. So this is going to allow me to take on Delphox really well. It allows me to take a hit from, I believe it allows me to take a Specs Draco from the Dragalge, and then I can Wish Protect on that and beat it 1v1. Unless it toxics me. I can handle Aegislash very well, unless it's SD with a fighting move. I can handle a +1 hit from Zygarde and do a lot of damage to it with Ice Beam. I believe it's a 2-hit KO, unless you Spadef. I do a lot of damage to his team, and it's very nice to have. So I had this mainly for Delphox, but also I could switch in on Zygarde decently well, on Mega Diancie. I think these EVs were specifically for Mega Diancie, actually. I could basically wall a lot of his team, and it was very nice. The next one I knew I wanted to keep the Mega Gardevoir. Like, I knew Mega Gardevoir was a huge offensive threat to his team. So I'm going to bring this down to level 50. I also like to point out that I have Celesteela plus Mega Gardevoir, just like my Delta Battle League team, so that's cool. This is Dove, obviously. Dove Cameron. Bay. Waifu. And I believe I had Synchronize, because I didn't see anything that worthwhile tracing. And I threw the set around for a while, but I knew I wanted Hyper Voice. And I knew I wanted Shadow Ball. I knew I wanted to keep the same spread I had last time, so I'm going to have 220 in speed. I'm going to have 148 in special attack, and I have 140 in HP, and this was a timid nature. So what this allows me to do is, it allows me to take certain hits. From full, Aegislash does not knock me out with a Shadow Ball, with a Shadow Snake, if it's maxed with a boosting nature, I believe. It does not knock me out with, I think it was an Iron Head. If I burn it. Well, Iron Head if I burn it. Shadow Claw if I burn it. And that's what the original one was. It had Wish, but I still get the spread because the spread still lets me take special hits from Aegislash. So even though I can't take an Iron Head, unless I burn it, I can still take a Shadow Ball from full. So I can always take one and I can get some damage off on the Aegislash, which is going to be good for what you see later. So I didn't know what I wanted here, these last two moves, so I'll come back to it later. Because I could have brought Wish or Will-O-Wisp, which was the very original set with Wish and Will-O-Wisp, or Wish Protect. I originally even didn't have Shadow Ball, I was just Will-O-Wisp, Wish Protect, and Hyper Voice. But, I come back to that. So next I wanted a really good Chestnut, a really good Zygarde check. I didn't want to bring Gliscor again because I felt like Gliscor was overly pressured that match. It ended up just only coming in as Zygarde. I didn't have Ice Fang for it. I was wanting Taunt, I wanted Default, I wanted U-Turn, I wanted all kinds of stuff. But Chestnut is just a really good wall, especially now that I'm really confident that he's going to be bringing Z Delphox again. Because now that I know that he can use Z Delphox, I know how much of a threat it is. Not only can he use Fire EMZ to kill my Drapion, he could also use Psyche EMZ to take out my Volcanion. So, Koopa, from UAPB, Season 1, my winning team. So Koopa's here. Koopa has Leftovers and the Bulletproof. So, I knew that I wanted Roar. I knew I wanted Leech Seed. And I didn't really have anything that I could hit it with other than Dragon Claw. But since I have stuff mods on my team that can handle it if it's not boosted, I knew that I was okay without recovery. So I ended up with Spikes and Drain Punch. And because I mainly wanted this for the Zygarde, I could put up Spikes on it. I was not going to die to any hit if he went to +2. If I'm like physically defensive, so I knew that I could bring Spikes and I could set them up on him. I could also set up Leech Seed on him and get up health. Basically, he'd have to be sub-coil to beat this set, and even that for me to not click Leech Seed or Spikes. And even then I had Roar, so I can just get rid of it. So this beats basically any Zygarde set unless it's Specs or something. Anyway, I went in with max HP. I had just a little bit of speed, just in case I could get over Aegislash and get a Leech Seed off on it before it killed me with like Shadow Ball or something. And I threw the rest in defense with a Impish Nature. So this is mainly here for Zygarde. However, I also handle Alolan Raticate, okay. I handle the Swampert, threaten that out. I can also switch on a Breloom pretty well and kind of roar that out if it's like Bulk Up or something. Or a Cursed Miltank, etc. I really wanted Roar. So anyway, as I was thinking, like, okay, I want some more offense on the team. I'm running a lot of bulk. I knew that I did not need Wish on this anymore. I ended up with Will-O-Wisp. And I'm going to go ahead and put the last move on here. It's going to end up being Psyshock, which was for Dragalge. It was for Crobat, mainly because I thought Crobat was such a likely bring the first time, and I thought it was even more likely bring the second time. I thought Crobat was just too good to come. I thought a Nasty Plot with Air Slash, Heat Wave, and that's it. Really was going to be really good. versus my team because his office is not bringing Lycan Rock. He has a Breloom, he has a Swampert, he has a Zygarde, he has an Alomomola, he has an Aegislash. I'm not bringing Lycan Rock. I'm not. And then Zipstrika, I don't think it has a good matchup. I need HP Ice and HP Grass to beat him, and even then, it doesn't break the team really well. And Polion was kind of an matchup, and even then, it gets worn down. I was so confident that a Nasty Plot Crobat was coming because Heat Wave could hit Celesteela. But anyway, I'm moving on. So the next one, I knew I wanted a secondary check. Like I wanted a bulky offensive team. I was really confident at this time that I was bringing bulky offense. So I knew I wanted Volcanion again. I knew Volcanion would do a lot of work last time, or could have done a lot of work last time. However, since I didn't see Alomomola, I understand why he didn't bring it. So now that I knew he was not going to bring it, I brought a different Volcanion set, and it was going to be Assault Vest. And this set was not very hard to build. I knew I wanted Flame Charge, I knew I wanted Flamethrower, I knew I wanted Steam Eruption, and I knew I wanted Earth Power. However, when it comes to the set, I wasn't totally sure of what I was going to do, so I come back to that. I didn't know if I wanted like a Super Spread F version to take on Delphox. I didn't know if I wanted an offensive one to be able to like punch through his team. So, Salamence. I wanted Salamence again. However, I did not want to run Scarf. Now that I have so much for Zygarde, this takes a hit. I believe this can take a hit, unboosted hit. This handles it really well. This threatens it out and outspeeds it. This handles it. I knew I didn't need to run Scarfment again. So I have Axe here. And, wow, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hope that didn't get picked up. But anyway, I still want to Intimidate, because Intimidate is very good. It helps me switch on Breloom really well. Helps me switch in on 1,000 Arrow Zygarde, or, yeah, 1,000 Arrow Zygarde, and then I can threaten it out with a Dragon type move. Wow, I just dropped something. This is all kinds of professional. But anyway, I knew I wanted more of an offensive setup and win Zygarde, so I ended up with Dragon Dance. I wanted a Dragon Dance version so bad. So I went Dragon Dance. I knew I wanted Dragon Claw. I didn't want Outrage because of Mega Diancie. I wanted Earthquake. And I wanted Groundini MZ. I wasn't really confident that his Aegislash would be perfectly weakened, and I wanted to make sure that I could do a lot of damage to that Aegislash at any time. I knew I didn't really need any special bulk, so I went with enough speed to outspeed Zygarde and the rest in attack. Or a max attack and the rest in bulk with a Jolly Nature. So, I wasn't sure what this last move was going to be. I thought Outrage, so I could have that if Mega Diancie was gone. Maybe Defog, maybe Roost. But we come back to that. And then here I was looking at what I needed, really, and I knew that my Licky was overly pressured. It was overly pressured by Delphox, by Dragalge, by Zygarde, by Diancie. The 4 mons it was meant to switch into. I needed a secondary switch into all of these, or most of these. Some way to take the pressure off of Licky. So I brought Celesteela again. So Celesteela. And this time I went with a much more bulky variant because I really needed it. I didn't really need the offensive. So I wanted Leech Seed, and I wanted Protect because I wanted to stay healthy. One thing I knew one thing I noticed in the first battle was that my Celesteela was getting whittled down too fast, and it did not have any way to reliably get health back. So for what I wanted for offense, I was switching into Mega Diancie, and I did not want to allow setup from a Zygarde, so I wanted Hidden Power Ice. And I wanted Flash Cannon. That I threw up forever. I knew I wanted max HP. Or near max HP. And the set ended up being enough to not be 2-hit KO by physical or special Diancie. So I have 144 in defense. I have 116 in that. And then I have 4 in special attack just because of the EVs and stuff. And then I had a Bold Nature. And I knew I could have fixed this. But like, I just don't have the patience for that. But anyway. So that was that. That was my Celesteela, and I knew I could switch in reliably to almost everything. And since I had this as a defensive backbone, I did not feel I needed a defensive version of Volcanion. I just liked having the Assault Vest so I could set up with Flame Charge a lot easier. So I went with an offensive one. I believe I went with 228 special attack. I had 28 in Spadef for Mega Diancie, I believe. 1 hit for Mega Diancie. And I had max speed. One, this allows me to speed tie with the Breloom, but also at +1 speed, I outspeed Crobat. Which, because at level 50, the speed tiers are just a bit different. At 134, I go to 201, and that is 1 point faster than a max speed Crobat, which caps out at 200. So, I think that's everything except for Salamence. So, at that point, I knew that this would be a mid-game breaker, and then I would try to go for game with this, or I could switch them around. And I knew this could force switches, so I went with sub. I could also sub up on the Aegislash, going for King Shield, because I knew that if that happened, that if it went Aegislash versus Salamence, maybe my King Shield to scout, for the Z Crystal, for all kinds of stuff, so I knew I could get a sub versus that. Whew. But this is what I bring versus Austin, the second time. I have physically mixed defensive Licky Licky, this Gardevoir with Will-O-Wisp now, Roar, Leech Seed, Spikes, Drain Punch, Chestnut, this Assault Vest Volcanion, Groundinium Z Salamence, and then defensive Celesteela. So, let me switch over to the battle now. Okay, so, getting into this battle, as you can see, I bring, like I said, Mega Gardevoir, Volcanion, Celesteela. I had to fix this, by the way. Let me know what you think of this layout. We bring Celesteela, Mega Gardevoir, Salamence, Licky Licky, Chestnut, Volcanion if you didn't watch the first half. But let me know what you think of this layout. This layout was originally designed with the bigger face box. So I might just move that over. I might move that over and make it bigger. But then the sprites get smaller and everything. Let me know. Let me know what you think about this layout. I think it looks nice. Anyway, let's get into the battle. He actually brings the Swampert, the Delphox, the Zygarde, the Breloom, the Diancie, and the Mega Diancie, and the Aegislash. Like I said, this ended up being the exact same team. However, I did not want to assume that until I got further information in the battle. So, I assumed that could be different. However, just like the original battle, I'm going to lead off with my Mega Gardevoir. The same logic that I had when I led off my Mega Gardevoir the first time still stands here. It offensively, it scares out just about everything on his team, or forces it, he doesn't switch into it, is what I mean. He can switch into Aegislash, but I burn that. And it just, pressures him offensively from the start. If he wants to lead Swampert like he did last time, that's fine. I almost ran Energy Ball on Gardevoir because I was like, maybe he might run the same team, and I might just want to OHKO that Swampert and not deal with rocks at all. But anyway, let us get into this battle now, shall we? So, that's the same garbage truck. Anyway, Austin is going to challenge us to a Pokemon battle. And he is going to lead off with his Mudfish here in the Dragon Valley. And I'm going to lead off with my Dove, my Mega Gardevoir. I knew that this thing does not really scare me. And even if I thought that Earthquake was going to do a lot of damage, I have the Will-O-Wisp, which I'm going to Mega Evolve and go for immediately. So Mega Gardevoir is going to Mega Evolve. It's going to show off its beautiful Mega Evolution, and I'm going to go for Will-O-Wisp. In case he switched out to Aegislash, in case he stayed in, I could take Earthquakes a lot better. So I burn this, and I believe he is going to go immediately for the Stealth Fox, get him up. I have a Salamence, I have a Volcanion, and my 2 Defoggers, which are Salamence and Volcanion, are both weak to rock. So good on him. Here, I'm not going to protect anything. Last time he kept staying in as I tried to go for Shadow Ball. I'm going to go for Hyper Voice. I'm going to 2 AKO this thing. And he's going to go for Scald. Makes sense. It's going to do more damage to me now that he's burned. And he's going to get just a decent amount of damage off on me, revealing that he's uninvested. He's probably physically defensive. I believe he's special defensive, actually. And here, Shadow Ball does not kill, I don't believe. And I believe I'm just going to go for another Hyper Voice. He stayed in and sacked it the first time. He's going to stay in and sack it the second time. So he's going to kill this. And he is going to go out, I believe, into the... is this the Zygarde? Yeah. So... I was thinking it was the first time after our Draco Meteor almost OHKO'd him last time. I was very positive he wasn't a Bomberry. I didn't think he'd be Yachty because I didn't see anything on my team that immediately would make him feel like Yachty was the right thing. I know the thing is Roselli Berry. I know this thing is Roselli Berry, and I also don't want to take an Extreme Speed. So I'm going to go out hard into my Chestnut as he goes for the Dragon Dance. And here, I do not remember what I do. I believe I click Roar, as I think he goes for a second Dragon Dance. So here, I believe I'm going to go for the Roar. Let's see if I am right. As he withdraws. Does that mean I go for Leech Seed? As he goes into... Oh, he goes into Morgana. I go for Leech Seed. Okay, so I went for Leech Seed, because I didn't think he'd be stuck, because he wasn't sub last time. So he goes into the Delphox, as I go for Leech Seed, and I'm going to get some damage off on this. However, I now have two very good switch-ins to this. One being my Volcanion and the other being my Licky Licky. I'm going to go out to my Volcanion because Licky Licky is best saved for other stuff. And this comes in on very well, especially since it's Leech Seeded. He's going to choose to go for the Substitute, which is a very interesting play. I can understand it though because it helps scout for what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get some health back from this Delphox, as he's going to go for Psychic. He's behind a sub, he's perfectly safe. He's going to get some damage off on me. It makes perfect sense. There's 100% to play. And he's going to show that he's a max special attack, and he's going to see that I am an Assault Vest variant. And I'm not going to go for Steam Eruption. I'm going to go for Earth Power because Steam Eruption can miss. And I would have missed. So here, he's going to lose the substitute. He's going to save this. I know he's going to save this. There's no reason to let this just die right now because it threatens my Celestial. It threatens my Chestnut. And it outspeeds everything on my team because I do not have a Scarfer. So he's going to switch out here into his Breloom, as I believe I actually go for Steam Eruption. Yeah, I don't go for Flame Charge. So I'm going to go for Steam Eruption here. I'm going to get off some damage on this. I don't get the burn. So here, I expected this to be offensive. The fact that he brought it straight in, I expected it to be max speed. So I expected him either to think that he's going to outspeed me, or it's going to be a speed tie. However, here's the thing. If it's a speed tie, and he gets the Spore off, because I know he's going for Spore. He's not going to go for SD here. He's not going to go for an attack. I don't believe any attack knocks me out. Rock 2 might, but I don't think he ended up having it. Bullet Seed might knock me out. He's going to go for Spore. I'm so confident he's going to go for Spore and then go for SD. But I have a Chestnut which can roar it out. I have a Salamence which can intimidate it. I am safe if he gets the Spore off. I'm going to go for Flame Charge because it kills this. And it can give me a boost in speed and like really threaten him on the next turn. I win the speed tie and I get the Flame Charge off, and it really sucks, but I would have been able to play around with the Spore. And I didn't really need my Volcanion, to be honest. So he's going to go to Mega DNC here, and he makes this choke, and he messaged me afterwards, and he was like, I'm so stupid. I completely forgot that you went for Flame Charge. And I was like, okay, boss. You still lost your DNC to a Steam Eruption, though. So Mega Evolves, completely forgetting that I am +1 speed, and I'm going to Steam Eruption and just going to lose DNC. So, Austin on tilt after what happened last time. In fact, I had to replay this game. I feel really bad. But he goes into Zygarde here, and I believe that I'm going to straight up attack this thing. I'm going to attack it every single day. I'm going to go for Steam Eruption and get as much damage off on this as possible, maybe get a burn. Spoiler alert, I don't believe I get the burn. And he goes for 1,000 arrows and he's going to kill me, which is perfectly fine. However, I do know at this point that even through a Roselli Berry that my Mega Gardevoir is going to be able to come in here and is going to be able to kill this thing. And if he, with the Hyper Voice. But if he goes into Eagle Slash, I can burn it afterwards. So I have no reason to predict anything. If he goes Delphox, I don't die to Flamethrower. He's going to go for Extreme Speed, trying to pick me off. However, I do know that I lived that as well. I'm going to go for a Hyper Voice. He's going to reveal the Roselli Berry, and he's going to go down to this Hyper Voice. So that's putting me in a very good position. Salamence looking very, very nice at this point. All I need to do is either weaken the Eagle Slash or be able to get the call right with the Grandinium Z. So he's going to go into King Arthur, and I'm going to Wisp this thing. If he's Shadow Sneak, he's going to kill me. If not, then I get a burn off. He goes for King Shield. He's going to see that I am actually going to be the Will-O-Wisp. And, turns out, King Shield does not protect against Will-O-Wisp. But he's Lumberry. So, anyway, he's going to go for Shadow Sneak here. And he's going to pick up my Mega Gardevoir. However, this is basically what I wanted. He's forced to kill me. And I can now go into my Salamence. I can now get the Intimidate off. This is exactly what I wanted. I can get the Intimidate off on this thing. And I'm very confident he's going to go for King Shield. One, if I straight up attack him with like a Dragon Claw or something for some random reason, it's going to minus my defense, but also it's going to switch his stance back to the more defensive variant. So, predicting King Shield, I'm going to go for the sub. As he goes for King Shield here, trying to protect himself, getting his bulk. However, does not matter. Substitute goes up. I'm going to go for the Dragon Dance here. And yeah, that's just it. I'm going to Dragon Dance up, and I'm going to hopefully go for game. So he's going to go for the, I believe, oh yeah, he goes for Sword Dance. So Sword Dance, King Shield, Shadow Sneak, and I believe the last move was going to be Iron Head or Sacred Sword. So because he went for Sword Dance, I know he's going to go for Shadow Sneak here. I have no reason to go for Grandinium Z. I'm going to go for the Earthquake, naturally. And because I want to finish the game off with Grandinium Z. So, I believe that's what I do anyway. Knowing he's going to go to the offensive form, he's going to die to this +1 Earthquake. I'm going to go for a regular Earthquake, and I'm going to kill this Eagle Slash. And the only thing left is a Delphox, which is not Scarf, which is going to be murked by this +1 Salamence's Tectonic Rage. So Morgana comes out, It is that low. There is no way in hell it's going to live the Tectonic Rage. I'm going to overkill this, and we're going to come out with a win versus the Lawrence Talonflames, coached by Austin, who played very well. And I'm, again, very, very sorry. Again, I'm very sorry, Austin, that it came to this tomfoolery that we had to redo everything because of a dock issue. But, I mean, hey, I don't really know what to say. I really don't. I'm so sorry, Austin. But Delphox goes down. And that is going to be the end of ICBA week number 3. Your New York Metagross started 0-2, and now we have our first win. And next week, guys, going against my boy. We're going against my boy, Aaron2420, coach of the Calgary Infernals. So stay tuned for that. Also, I'm sorry this video is a day late. My driver died. Ha 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 ha.